Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Escape to Storyland. Today I'm going to read another short story named Perfumer or a Murderer. But before I start, do subscribe to my channel, do hit the like button and the bell icon for further notification. So let's go. As time inched closer to 5 o'clock, the constant keyboard clicks on the accounting floor scattered and slowed. I sent off a few email replies and slid back my headset, rested it around my neck, and rubbed my eyes until I saw spots. I had no real problems with this job during my 5 months at Gold Leaf Bank. Only that the place was so colorless and dull that I felt myself turning more and more into a potted plant. And an artificial plant to be exact, since my cube was flooded with old hospital lighting with not a window inside to remind me that I was not permanently in white-collar misery. I had once tried to decorate my cube with homemade pieces from art school, but that was met with a passive-aggressive email from our boss Megan, whose hair was always pulled back a bit too tight, and she seemed to own a pair of sensible heels in every shade of red. The email was something like this: "We just think it does not quite mix with the bank's long-renowned conservative image, but we can certainly utilize your creativity somehow, I think. I am certain the best way the company who mocked me at my art could think to use my creativity would be using my pottery as a paperweight in a stuffy corner office. The only one who I could really share these feelings with was Natalie. Natalie and I did not spend our time at the water cooler chatting on about the stock market or the current sale on patio furniture at Big Lots. With us, the conversation jumped from dirty jokes to movies and to ranking each other's Hollywood crushes. She began working as an assistant in the accounting office just a year or so before me. So, I look up to her professionally and personally. When she got promoted and I became her understudy, so to speak, we clicked instantly. And we have been throwing paper airplanes over our shared cubicle wall ever since. Natalie was skilled in botany, design, and drinking red wine. Since my choices in decor were a bit pretentious for stuffed shirt Megan, today Natalie was kind enough to share fresh cut peachy tulips from her garden so my desk would not be so sad. She also had moody purple orchids on her desk that could nearly reach the top of the wall to peek over at me. Emma, I think my eyes are about to fall out my face. Natalie stood up and stretched her arms high, then lightly fluffing her thin chestnut hair. You still coming over tonight? Depends. Are you going to keep trying to put me to work for you? I teased her. Not only was Natalie a botanist before switching lanes like me, but also handcrafted her own perfumes on the side. I had been lucky enough to sample a few of her finished products, but the idea of helping with the process made me nervous. My medium of expression felt like primitive engravings, compared to her complex alchemy, heating and cooling, rendering and reducing. Natalie, like myself, really had no one else to share her craft with. So, she had been hinting and hoping for a partner in crime with her in her fanciful fragrances several weeks. Yes, Natalie giggled, draping her arm across our cube board. Come on, Emma, I don't know what you're so afraid of. It will be so much fun. It will be like following a recipe, just like making homemade pizzas last week. Yeah, except you cannot mess up a pizza. I replied with a gentle smirk as I clocked out and began packing my purse. I spoke a little too loudly as our neighboring co-worker cleared her throat sharply at my language. Natalie and I shared a knowing look and a muffled snort. Let's go, girl! It is finally Friday, and all I want to do is chill out with my people and maybe make some magic. Natalie winked at me. We nearly simultaneously swung our purses over our shoulders and we headed down to the basement parking garage and far away from the dreary grey, absurdly named Goldleaf Bank. Do you want red or white wine? Natalie called out behind an open cabinet, still in a turquoise pencil skirt and sheer white ruffled blouse. Her mousy hair now in a messy bun, and her bare feet patting along the kitchen tiles. I stood up from her sofa and smoothed my chocolate brown dress. I popped my head into the kitchen. That depends. Which one will get me drunk faster? I joked back, to which Natalie let out a laugh. Ha! Now you're asking the right questions. She generously poured for each of us half a bottle of Cabernet, so deeply crimson it was almost black. As I brought the stainless glass to my lips, the wine kissed my nose with dark cocoa and blackberries. Natalie took a carefree gulp and walked towards her study with me close behind her. I am so excited you finally decided to be my partner in crime, Natalie chuckled as she entered her workspace. Wall to wall, cherry oak bookcases flaunted with overflowing flower pots, aging oils, books and tools, and twisted empty glass bottles waiting patiently for their turn to house the next portion. Positioned on a classy rug was a heavy antique desk in the center of the study, strongly resembling a freakish Frankenstein tea cart filled with dry spices, alembics hanging over twisting tubes, Bunsen burners, and a florist's scissors. Natalie glided over to the wall and slipped down for a few reference book, which at a second glance seemed to be on her own handwriting, maybe her journals. This should be fun. I had a request put in from the VP for his wife as a gift. Apparently, she is hooked on these sultry, woody scents, the envy among trophy wives these days. She flipped through a notebook as she walked back to the desk, and a single slip of paper slid out of the folds and feathered down the rug. I do not play with those recipes nearly enough, so we will both go on an adventure, I suppose. I set my wine down carefully on the desk and reached for a particular striking perfume bottle on the shelf. It felt slightly heavier in my hand than the others. May I? I asked her. Natalie had busied herself grinding star anise in her mortar and pestle. "Be my guest," she replied over her shoulder. I lifted the sapphire stopper on the bottle and lifted it to my nose. A potent mix of bright, powdery gardenia and fresh tennis balls took me aback. No offense, Natalie, but this one smells straight up like an old lady. To each their own, I guess. I swirled the bottle a few times, heard a faint rattle against the glass. "What is inside this one? Something new you do to protect the scent?" Suddenly, I heard a sharp clink, and I turned to see Natalie squeezing the motor down into the desk, her eyes gleaming at me, not quite with anger but with intense interest. My skin felt instantly cold. "That's my grandmother's perfume," she said. I must have crossed an unforeseen boundary line, so I apologized. "Oh God, Natalie, I had no idea. This has to be special to you," I said as I began to gently close the bottle. No, don't be sorry. I was actually looking forward to sharing this with you." She left the motor and picked up a long pair of tweezers. She took the bottle from me and reached inside. Suddenly, on the other end of the tweezers was a shabby leathery finger with a golden wedding band hanging by fleshy ribbon. "Bloody hell, Natalie!" I gasped. "What the hell is this? Why do you have this?" I stumbled backwards and smacked my shoulder blades on the bookshelf behind me. "I don't understand. What are you doing?" "Ah, I wish you were not so upset. There is nothing wrong." She looked at me with an oddly kind but strange smile. "This is simply another memory I wanted to show you. Except this one I made from scratch." She let go of the tweezers and the finger plopped back inside the bottle, stirring the scent swiftly back in the air. The scent that now sickened me in an all-new way. "She is already dead when I took this. I did not hurt anyone, if that's what you're on about." "What do you mean? Who is she?" I could not take my growing eyes off the perfume bottle in her hands. She set it down. I still did not look away. "Grandma Margaret, my mother's mother. She has been gone for almost 3 years now. She was so lively and fashionable in her time. I looked up to her, and I mourned her hard when she passed. Her signature perfume stopped being produced when I was still a little girl. So when she died, it seemed almost like her scent died with it. Don't get me wrong, though it stayed alive in my mind like an imprint. Did you know that some of your first memories as a baby are rooted in smell? Like the smell of your security blanket or your mother's milk? And it is proven that scent is the strongest trigger for memory. But even with all my training, I could not replicate the scent. Then I remembered, perfume smells different on every person. It interacts differently with every pattern of DNA. To replicate the smell of the perfume on her, I needed her. This is like recreating and bottling memories like my own museum. You do not understand. I was really excited to share this with you. Your own museum or burial chamber, Natalie? Do you see how crazy this is? I shrieked, and then I instantly regretted the question when I saw her face darken in a way I had never seen before. She advanced on me purposefully. You know, Emma, I had hoped of all people you could appreciate my art. She drifted off, glimpsing at her reflection on the glass bubbles. She advanced upon me. I suppose my secret has to remain just that, a secret, for a little while longer. She charged forward and snuck the scissors inward and upward through my abdomen, and I pleaded breathlessly to her. The thick blades ate through my skin, only slightly catching on the thread of my dress as they soaked with blood. She snatched the scissors back through my flesh, and I clutched at my stomach through the warm, sticky mess. I stumbled for something, anything to steady myself. As my brain caught up to my pain, I clutched for the chair and only grasped air as my knees felt weak and I crumbled into a heap of meat and bone on the rug. My mouth went dry and my fingers numbed as she knelt beside me to pick up a fallen slip of paper. As she studied the note, a sideways smile stitched its way across her face. A sharp ring overtook my ears, and I could not hear what she was saying to me, but I barely made out this from her lips. Don't worry, Emma, I will keep you. She turned over the paper to share with me an engraving of a finger with a gold wedding band. Inscribed above it, alongside several unclear measurements, were the words Grandma Margaret. She set the slip on the desk and reached down for me. I thought maybe this was just a warning or a test. Natalie would save me from her plans. Then she stretched out my index finger and rested it between the jaws of the scissors. That was the end of our story today. I hope you all really enjoyed it. I will be back again with another story. Till then, do subscribe to my channel and thank you so much for listening to it.